Hi, I'm Antonio Mora. If you think about early retirement, middle-aged people are probably what come to mind. When you hear about an athlete retiring, most of us think about a Rob Gronkowski or Andrew Luck, people in their late 20s or 30s. Well, what definitely doesn't come to mind are 11-year-old kids. We may have to change the way we think. A survey sponsored by the Aspen Institute and the Utah State Families in Sports Lab found that the average kid quits youth sports by the time he or she is 11, after only 3 years of playing. The Sports and Fitness Industry Association also found a 15% decline over the past decade in kids aged 6 to 12 who are playing sports. That has to ring some loud alarm bells among parents and sports authorities. Kids are refusing to play sports by 6th grade. That is well before they become rebellious teens. So something has to be wrong. And this is a big deal. These early retirements are contributing to the worsening physical inactivity epidemic in the U.S. The World Health Organization has deemed it a global public health problem. Not getting enough physical activity can lead to people having problems with weight and obesity from childhood into adulthood, leading to medical problems that include diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. The costs are staggering. According to a study from the Global Obesity Prevention Center at Johns Hopkins University, less than 1/3 of those preteens are getting the recommended minimum 25 minutes of high-calorie burning physical activity at least 3 times a week. The Hopkins study included a computer model that estimated the cost of today's 8 to 11-year-olds being inactive and overweight could reach almost $3 trillion every year in medical costs and lost productivity once they become adults. The concern expressed by most experts is that kids' sports have become more about competition than fun, and that too many kids are, in effect, shamed when coaches weed them out of competitive teams or ignore them to pay attention to better athletes. Those are real problems. Kids should not feel rejected and unwanted at an impressionable age. Competitive sports have also become prohibitively expensive for many Americans. Even for the best athletes, specialization in one sport and the intensity of training leaves little time for anything else, leading many to burn out and quit. There's no doubt competition has gotten too intense for many kids, and that parents have made it worse. The rising costs of college have increased the stakes for parents and kids who hope for scholarships. With that kind of pressure on minds and bodies, no wonder many kids aren't having fun and many are getting injured. How do you solve the problem? Most experts are suggesting what we've come to expect, insisting we have to cool the competitiveness to increase participation. They seem to forget that's exactly what was advocated in the 90s when handing out much maligned participation trophies ratcheted up. How has that worked out? The Aspen Institute study shows that approach hasn't succeeded. I'm not an expert. I'm just talking from experience, coming from a family of 6 kids who were all competitive athletes, one of whom played professional tennis, and as the father of a highly competitive athlete who still plays in college. But a one-size-fits-all approach is where at least part of the problem lies. In no article I've read has anyone raised the fact that part of the problem could be that there is not enough competition. I've seen competitive athletes drop a sport frustrated by being forced out of games because of rules that demand everyone must play and that limit playing time for all players. I've seen others drop sports because finding competition is too difficult, expensive, or requires too much travel. Most sports, by definition, involve competition. So why try to eliminate it? Why not add competitive levels to sports? In high schools, instead of just having a varsity team and a junior varsity team, why not add a no-cut division if a sport is popular enough? The same thing could be done at the community level. We also need to give kids time for free play. Even if they specialize in one sport, let them have fun, take control of practices, and enjoy themselves without intense coaching at all times. And let them play more than one sport when they want to. It might make athletes better at their main sport and make them appreciate it more. The Aspen Institute's Project Play and ESPN have launched a Don't Retire Kid campaign to encourage kids to stay involved in sports as a great foundation for life. They're also providing resources and strategies to help parents keep their kids in the game. But I'd urge the experts to listen to their kids. The reality of youth sports today is very different than when most of us were children. Often, well-intentioned, top-down solutions from adults may not work for kids. I've seen that happen firsthand in both tennis and soccer. A healthy youth sports environment is good for everyone, even those who don't have kids or grandkids. When children play sports, they are less obese, more likely to stay in school and go to college, and less likely to suffer from chronic illnesses. Physical inactivity is costing American society a fortune. We are facing a real crisis that urgently needs to be addressed.